this is Lucky Robin, and today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade rabbit sausage. Okay, to start, you're gonna need 4 teaspoon measures, 2 half teaspoon measures, 2 1/4 teaspoon measures, and 1/8 teaspoon measure. You're gonna need a food scale with a piece of either wax paper or parchment paper, or you can use a bowl as long as your scale has the ability to tear out the weight of the bowl. You're going to need your rabbit sausage. You're going to need a cookie sheet and a piece of parchment paper or wax paper over it. And you're going to need a large bowl for mixing. And then you will need fennel seeds, sea salt, pepper, coriander. Coriander is seeds from cilantro, and you'll need them ground. You can find this in the spice aisle if you don't grow cilantro. Oregano leaf, red pepper flakes, garlic powder, thyme, and sage. Sage is what makes sausage. It's the sausage. If you don't have sage, it's not sausage. Okay, first we need 2 teaspoons of sage. One teaspoon of fennel. Now, if you don't like seeds generally in your stuff, you can put these in a spice grinder and grind them down to a powder. Or if you have kids that have texture issues, you can do that. We don't mind the fennel seeds here. One teaspoon of thyme. One teaspoon of sea salt. And 1 teaspoon of pepper. Half teaspoon of oregano. If you don't want to use leaf, you can use oregano powder. Just grind it finer. But we really don't care. Half teaspoon of coriander. Quarter teaspoon of garlic powder. And 1/8 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now you can leave this out if it doesn't really make it that spicy. When I was originally putting sausage recipe together, most of the ones I found actually called for a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and the first time I made that, it was like, huh? And so the second time I made it, I cut it in half, and it was still a little much for the kids. So we settled on 1/4, and it's really, really not that spicy with that smaller amount. Or not 1/4, 1/8. I mean, we went down to 1/8 before the kids were happy. So I think I was happy at 1/4, and my husband was happy at 1/4, but the kids were happy at 1/8. So, all right, now you'll need to turn your scale on, put your paper on, and zero it out, and then you want to measure out 2 pounds And you might need to do this 1 pound at a time if your scale is small like mine. Or you could do it in a bowl. Okay. Now I like to use the large grind on the ground rabbit. The small grind doesn't really hold together well when you're making sausage patties or hamburger patties. It just falls apart. If you were stuffing casings to make sausage, then the small grind would be good. But just from our experience, it's just not. Alright, so mix your seasonings in. And there's no way to do it but like with your hands, so I'm getting around that. But it doesn't take long. Alright, and now we want to measure out about a 3-ounce serving. Okay, and I'll put it over here on the cookie sheet on the parchment paper. Just a little too much. There we go. And these are a perfect breakfast portion. And if you see that you got a big spot of seasoning that you didn't quite mix in, just, you know, move it around a little bit. But I try to keep them round, and I try to get them pretty well flattened. They'll cook better if they're pretty uniform. Okay. Alright, and we'll get back to you when we've got them done. Alright, so this is 4 pounds done into 3-ounce patties. And this is going to go in the freezer for 2 hours. And then from that point, you can either bag it up, or you can cook it up and then bag it up. And then all you have to do is warm it up in the microwave. But it is better to cook this from frozen, because it will kind of fall apart on you if you're trying to cook it from fresh. I'll be back when it's frozen. Okay, so now they have all been individually frozen and can be baked up without sticking to each other. Alright, there we go. About 20 sausages will fit in a gallon Ziploc bag. And you want to label it with the date and the name of what it is. And into the freezer it goes. And that is how I make my rabbit sausage patties. Alright, the final rabbit sausage patty count is 36 patties.